Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. I am Rick Walker, and I'm glad that everybody is here tonight. Welcome back, Maverick family. Welcome, new viewers from far and wide, from lands spread all over the globe. Tonight, Joe Biden's campaign team has a new plan. Joe shouldn't fall down anymore. We'll talk about that. Pretty elaborate, very sophisticated. We'll see if they're able to execute the plan. A body has been found near the home of Barack Obama. We'll talk about that. A law aimed at drag queen story times involving young children in Florida has been placed on hold. We'll tell you why. What else? We're going to talk probably tonight just a little bit about electric cars for two reasons. There are some in the industry, the automotive industry, out there tonight saying now is a really good time to buy an electric car. And they have a bunch of reasons why. I'll share those with you. Also today, I have been given the privilege of test driving a brand new electric vehicle. I won't get into too much of the detail on it tonight, but I will tell you about an experience I had bringing it home. And through the course of this week, I will talk about my experience with this electric vehicle. I'll share it with you, and we'll see together what it's like to rely on one of these newfangled all-electric driving machines. So don't go away. I have all that and probably more right here on the Maverick News channel. I have to find the right promo to run. There it is. I found it.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Hey, no! To bugs!
Okay, first up, Biden. He falls down a lot. And we'll get to that story because his team has a plan to prevent him from falling down and making a lot of mistakes when he's at the podium. So we're going to touch on that. But before we get into that, I did want to touch on this story about the drag queen story time law down in Florida. This is a DeSantis law, but today, let me find my notes on this. The law has been placed on hold because of a court challenge. Here we go. Okay, I found it. Got my information here. So there has been a challenge to this Florida drag shows law. So there's going to be a trial to determine if this law, which does target drag shows, is constitutional. But the trial will not start until next spring. So there has been a filing posted in federal court in Tallahassee. And they're looking at a start date for this trial of June, actually, of 2024. So almost a full year is going to go by before we get into this. The trial is probably only going to last maybe a couple of days, and then there will be a decision by a judge. There will be no jury in this particular case. So this is a law that was introduced by Ron DeSantis, and it's on hold now. A federal judge last month did issue a temporary injunction preventing the law from being enforced until the trial is held. The state of Florida has appealed that decision. Last week, Gregory Presnell, a U.S. district judge, went on to issue an order clarifying that the injunction applied to all venues in Florida, not just the one restaurant that had sued the state challenging the DeSantis law's constitutionality. So this law is designed to reprimand or punish even venues, bars, restaurants, whatever, that allow children into what they are classifying as adult live performances. This law, this proposed law, does not specifically, well, I guess it is a law, it's just being challenged, and now it's on hold, but it doesn't specifically say drag shows, but the bureaucrats involved in this have acknowledged that that is what this law is designed to do. So I think that will be at the the heart, the core of the entire lawsuit, or the legal challenge really to the law. So under this law, venues that violate the terms of the legislation would face fines, as well as possibly a penalty of losing their liquor license or licenses if there were multiple venues, which could be suspended or even taken away completely. And if there are individuals who are charged, it would be a misdemeanor crime. So this lawsuit was brought by the owner of a restaurant called Hamburger Mary's, which is also, it's not just a restaurant, it's also a bar in Orlando. And they regularly have drag shows there, including family-friendly performances, as they characterize them, on Sundays, where children are invited to attend. So the owner of the restaurant says that the law has gone, and DeSantis has gone overboard, and that the law has been written in terms that are too vague and, in his view, violate First Amendment rights by chilling speech. So DeSantis, before he announced that he was going to run for the GOP presidential nomination, as we know, has made issues like this a central part of his campaign platform. What happens with this? Not sure. But you can see that there is pushback on this. Not surprising. So the culture wars rage on in Florida and across the country and across North America, in Canada, around the world. That's what we're dealing with here today. Now, in Canada, the finance minister and deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland, has sent a message to Toronto, which has a new mayor, Olivia Chow, who is very woke and is now waking up to the realities of dealing with budget shortfalls. So Chrystia Freeland is sending a message directly to the city saying that the federal government does not have an infinite amount of money to spend or to give municipalities. So Olivia Chow, who took office in a by-election because former Mayor John Tory kind of got caught in a little bit of a scandal with a female staffer. So Chow used to be married to the federal leader of the New Democratic Party, Jack Layton, who has passed away. But she has risen in prominence politically in the country, now the mayor of Canada's most populous city, and made many, many, many promises that will take Toronto down a very neoliberal, woke path. No question about it. But the city is facing a major budgetary shortfall of nearly $1 billion already. Her plans would involve, no doubt, a lot more spending. In fact, the city's website has a page asking residents to email their member of parliament to push the federal government to provide more money to assess the lingering impacts, economic impacts of the pandemic. And on that page, it says, without federal support, city funding for future frontline services will be affected. But rather than deal with the economic crisis in Toronto through economic restraint, they've gone to the federal government. Chow is going to the federal government with cap in hand, asking for a bailout, essentially. And Freeland, who is part of a very woke, neoliberal, left-wing, socialist, tax and spend, high spend federal government, as everyone knows in Canada, is saying, not so fast, Olivia Chow. we don't have a lot of money to give away. You're asking for more than we're able to give right now. It sort of sounds like echoes of what the federal government and what Trudeau had to say to Canada's veterans. And yet the flow of money seems to be infinite for the war in Ukraine, but not so for the city of Toronto. So that's the message from Chrystia Freeland back to the city of Toronto tonight. What else can I say other than welcome to reality, Olivia Chow? Yeah. Governing always seems like it might be, people think that you get into power, you're the mayor, you're going to do whatever you want, and you make all these promises, and then you sit in the big chair, and reality slaps you right upside the head and smack dab right in the middle of the forehead, and you get a reality check. The reality of economics is sort of like that. It's easy to make promises during a campaign, not so easy all the time to deliver on those promises when money is needed. And everybody knew that the city of Toronto was already facing an economic crisis, a debt crisis during the campaign. But nobody likes to face reality or very few people like to face the economic realities of the economic realities. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Kevin Spacey, his sexual assault trial. The jury in that trial has adjourned after deliberating about 2.5 hours. No verdict reached yet today on allegations by 4 men that date back about 2 decades. Kevin Spacey, the actor, of course, 63 years old, has entered a plea of not guilty to 9 charges. Those charges include multiple counts of sexual assault and 1 count of causing a person to engage in, cover your children's ears, folks, penetrative sexual activity without consent. The jury of 9 men, 3 women heard testimony over 3 weeks in Southwark Crown Court before stating their deliberations, which were scheduled to resume Tuesday morning. Spacey's lawyer did indicate during closing arguments last week that 3 of the men are liars, and he has suggested jurors should not convict Kevin Spacey for making as he put it, a clumsy pass at a 4th man. Now, on the other side, the prosecutor has tried to portray Kevin Spacey as a sexual bully who abused his power, used his power as a major celebrity to manipulate and abuse, and says that Spacey's a sexual bully who took what he wanted when he wanted it. So all these alleged acts are supposed to have taken place between 2001 and 2013. And the allegations range from unwanted touching to aggressive, and again, cover your children's ears, crotch grabbing, and in one instance, performing oral sex on an unconscious man. We'll see what the jury comes back with after they deliberate further. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? That's painful to even talk about. Let's take another break. When we come back, we'll get into that other story about Obama falling down. Don't go away. More ahead right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
Okay, hang on. Still getting some stuff queued up here, so I need just a moment longer. You can watch this while I get that ready.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so Joe Biden. His campaign team is working on a plan. Well, they have the plan to stop his embarrassing behavior from becoming more embarrassing. They want to stop things like this. You may have seen this already. They want him to stop screwing up.
Political level,
Falling asleep. Not good.
Aqua is both strong.
Yeah.
And as I affirmed, we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Aqua is both strong.
Yeah.
And as I affirmed, we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Aqua is both strong.
Yeah.
And
You're getting the picture there, right? I mean, he looks like he's asleep. He truly does. But he's like mumbling, half asleep during that. So the plan is note cards and shorter stairs. That's what his campaign team has come up with, because the president of the United States tripping and falling does not look good, especially heading into a re-election campaign, especially when he has a very strong challenger for the nomination from the DNC in RFK Jr. You know, Biden is 80 years old, and oh my goodness. he has been, he's his trips and his falls, keeps falling down, going boom. He screws up every time he stands up at the podium. He can't even read off a prompter properly. He's practically falling asleep in meetings with world leaders. In fact, we've seen him literally fall asleep when sitting in important, events. So his aides have realized that they have a problem that's just occurred to them, apparently, because he tripped over that sandbag and fell right down. Remember when he was at the Air Force Academy's graduation ceremony? So his aides have all kind of gotten together now, and they've tried to figure out what went wrong there, what they can do to prevent this from ever happening again. They don't want any more embarrassment for the president. So what's their plan? Well, like I said, note cards and shorter stairs. Biden says that he's up for the challenge for a second term, but polls have shown that the American people are losing confidence in him. They're concerned about his physical and mental state. So that's what they've come up with, cue cards. I don't think it's going to work, because the truth is he's been using cue cards at times, and it hasn't really worked out that well for him. And we've even seen instances where the media has been able to zoom in with cameras and actually take pictures of some of those cards that have been handed to him. And they've been able to pick off pieces of information that they've been able to blow up for people to see, to get an indication of what he's being cued on. So, in a preview of what voters will see more of if Biden wins re-election and serves into his, can you believe this? He'd be like, what, 84, 80, 86 maybe? 80, 84, probably 85 by the time he would finish his term in office. They're embarking on kind of a public relations campaign, trying to show him just show him in a better light. So they have these shorter stairs, I guess, that they're going to use for Air Force One. And here's an image of what Biden will be climbing. You know that really tall, those really long stairs, they're replacing them with this. Can you see that? Here we go. Shorter stairs. So instead of dealing with the real problem, which is Joe Biden, and the fact that he's too old and too senile to do the job, they get the guy shorter stairs to accommodate him. And while normally I would say, bravo for accommodating someone with special needs, we're talking about the President of the United States, and it isn't even his physical condition, which is of great concern to me personally. It's his mental state. This is a guy who is responsible for safeguarding the nuclear codes and making a decision, a split decision, as to whether he should push the big button someday. Not to mention other important life and death situations for Americans and others around the world. Millions of lives at stake. I want someone sharp. But no, they got him shorter stairs. That's their solution. That's the plan to solve the Biden problem. Oh, I feel much better now. Glad that happened. And you may remember him falling at that Air Force Academy event. There's a still shot. We ran that many, many times. Oh, hang on. There you go. Remember that? How could you forget? Hang on a second here. Let me see if I've got another shot to show you. Yeah, then there's this. And then, of course, this is all generated countless memes, and people have been making a lot of jokes. So you're getting stuff like that, which is actually hilarious. And yet somehow he's hanging on as president. I don't understand, honestly, why people are tolerating it. You'd think that people would be like applying massive pressure to have something done to replace him, to get him out of the White House, but no, they're tolerating it. Here's what you can expect to see. Let's see if he can do it. Can you do it, Joe? Da, 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 da. All right. Yay. Hi, Joe. Hi. Ooh, almost slipped there. And he's in. Whew, that was a close one. One more time. You see there, he actually almost slipped again. Thank you, Joe. Hi, Joe. Look, Ma. Two hands. Did you guys actually see that? Did I run that for you? Or was that not on the... Oh, you can't see nothing. Well, let me bring it up for you. Sorry. I thought I had that on the screen. I hope I didn't delete that. It was really good stuff. Hang on. I was sitting here watching it by myself, not sharing it with you. Terrible. I'll get it back. Here we go. All right. I got it. There it goes. These are the shorter stairs. Keep this in mind. Now watch. Come on, get on. There we go. Sorry about this. Hi, Joe. Hi. Oh, grab that. Almost fell down again. One more time. Watch. See, he actually stumbles here just a little. Right there. See that? Even though they're giving him the shorter stairs, he still has trouble navigating to the top. Oh, man. Guys, I made it. I made it. Right there. See, almost fell right there. You look at that again. This is them showing us how they've solved the problem for Joe Biden climbing the stairs and falling down. But look at what just happens there. The toe of his shoe hits one of those stairs, and he almost falls again right there. First time up. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Look. He had to grab the door jamb to stabilize himself again. the leader of the free world. That's what our future depends on. On the Canadian side of things, the poster boy for the globalists, the New World Order, Justin Trudeau, is shuffling his cabinet. This is likely to happen within the next couple of days. And what this means is could be an election coming. He's been holding private meetings with ministers in advance of a forthcoming trip to Rideau Hall. And this is all happening, I think, for a couple of reasons. The government's under a lot of heat because of all this this talk about alleged Chinese meddling in the Canadian political process, Chinese police stations, possible exchange of money from Chinese sources, influencing the political process as well, and flowing to certain not even clear, candidates and so on. Plus, you've got the whole scandal now, or the controversy anyway, surrounding the move of serial killer Paul Bernardo from maximum security to medium security. Canada's highest profile serial killer. The Canadian public not happy about that at all. You have all these different things going on, the SNC-Lavalin scandal, the Teflon's wearing off the prime minister. You're seeing now protests, confrontations even in the streets with people shouting, screaming, swarming the prime minister during stops, campaign-style stops. Trudeau knows he has to do something to shore up his image and deal with what's going on. So look for a cabinet shuffle as early as Wednesday. And that is all a prelude to an election. Probably. Could come as early as this fall. That, and everybody's been anticipating an election for a while. It has to come sooner or later, regardless of the people out there who say there's never going to be another. That's not true. There is going to be another election. There has to be. And generally speaking, elections are not held in the summer because people are not home. They're not engaged. It creates too much, I guess, volatility within the electorate. And what by that I mean, it's just unpredictable what you're going to get. So Trudeau will want a stable voter base. He'll want to make sure everybody's home, which is just generally standard practice. They'll get everything teed up in the summer. If there is going to be an election, look for it sometime, probably in the fall. Probably in the fall. Could happen in the winter, but I think probably fall might be more likely, or early winter sometime. Very difficult to say. He can call, he has a wide range, a lot of latitude in when he could call the election, but this is an indication that it is coming. So much so that today, Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, leader of the loyal opposition, sent out an email, mass email, to Conservative Party members saying exactly what I'm telling you now. It looks like there's an election on the horizon. So they're trying to beef up their war chest by asking for financial contributions, donations. So you can smell it. It's in the air, the scent of an election in Canada. I think, honestly, at this point, after seeing what we've seen this past week with Trudeau and the swarming that took place, Sooner is probably better than later. In fact, let's just run that video again one more time to just show you what it was like. In case you missed it, this was the scene in Belleville, Ontario, just days ago.
You're a traitor, Trudeau!
You're a fucking communist! Get out of Canada! Communist bastard! Communist bastard! Fuck Trudeau! 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 Fuck you! You fucking criminal! Fucking criminal! You guys shouldn't represent him. What a fucking loser!
Beat it,
You
Trudeau!
fucking coward! Get going! Get going! You're a fucking piece of shit! Get the fuck out! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
You're a pathetic kid! You are a pathetic kid! You're all a bunch of pathetic kids! Off the street! Off the street!
Chill out!
Off the street, please! Off the street! You keep going backwards, please! Back up!
That's right, fucking run! Run, Trudeau!
Back,
Run,
Trudeau!
bud! Run away!
You must buy your pants at the same place the other guy bought his pants. One of yours
Not one fucking guy did I see get pushed. You know how many women I did? Oh,
You suck, Trudeau! You need security! You fucking loser! Fuck you, Trudeau!
As you can see, some of those people think Trudeau is number one. Look for a lot more of that. It's coming. A lot more of it. Okay, take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so I'm back. Have you seen the new Twitter logo? Do you care? Everybody's like, oh, the Tweety bird is gone. And now you've got this. DX. I kind of like it. I like it better than the bird. I never liked the Twitter bird. Never liked it. It just, I never liked the name Twitter. I never wanted to tweet. It just felt from me to silly. Did you tweet today? Yes, I went online and I tweeted. I thought a pretty dad. Anyway, this is the new thing for Elon Musk and Twitter. It's a big X. Some changes coming there, I guess. Anyway, everybody's focused on that. Whatever. The world still turning. Sun setting, sun rising, sun setting, sun rising. Now we have a big X. X marks the spot. The other thing, when I was up in Toronto today and on my way back, all I heard about on the darn radio all day long, what are they calling it? The movie thing. Barbenheimer. The Barbenheimer weekend. Barbenheimer. The Barbie movie and the Oppenheimer movie. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, it was such a big weekend. Really? The Barbie movie? I mean, I spoke about it the other night. I had no idea that it was going to be the big box office hit that it is, like the number one movie, $180 million or some ridiculous amount of money is what it pulled in. And here I am talking about it, and I'm listening to this on the radio today in Toronto, and the radio stations up there are all very woke, which also just blows my mind. What the heck has happened? Barbie was like out of fashion. Not just out of fashion. It was like a sin for anyone woke to like Barbie for a long time, because Barbie perpetuated stereotypes for women. Barbie had physical proportions which were impossible for real women to obtain. Barbie was supposed to encourage women to work toward unrealistic physical manifestations of themselves through plastic or cosmetic surgery and augmentations, which is also, or was for a long time, taboo within the woke, politically correct crowds of people. But now, suddenly, Barbie is in vogue. Barbie's in fashion. Barbie is cool. Pink is where it's at. I mean, I thought pink was supposed to be almost like rejected unless you were a guy. Now pink is back, and pink is cool. Pink is fun. Got pink Corvettes, pink Barbie Corvettes. I can't imagine sitting through a feature-length film, the feature-length Barbie myself. I couldn't. I don't think I could take it without even seeing it. Maybe I'm being too judgmental, but I don't think so. And I guess it has a great soundtrack, whatever. I don't know. But I think it's promoting current culture, current sexual culture. I'll put it that way. Right. This all kind of goes back to that DeSantis law, right? The drag queen story time stuff. And I haven't seen the film, can't say for sure, but from everything I'm kind of hearing and seeing and witnessing and the way people are going to see this movie, it's a lot of women pushing this. I guess the demographics obviously are very, the audience is primarily female. And so but whole families are going and people are dressing in pink and taking it to the max. I'm blown away. I'm surprised. Like, to me, a Barbie movie should be like for kids. It's like but this thing has become some sort of a cultural rallying point. We're seeing the culture war play out now in the movie theaters. On the one side, in this corner, the Barbie movie. In the other corner, Sound of Freedom. Bam, culture war. Is there overlap there? People seeing both, people enjoying both. This is the culture war being played out on the silver screen. And the Oppenheimer movie, it only took in something like 80 million, which was a lot more than it was supposed to take in. Serious subject matter dealing with the detonation, the development of the first nuclear weapon. But the Barbie movie does a lot better. $100 million more on more screens, more promotion behind it. All designed to get people focused on the brand, reindoctrinate them into the Barbie movement as we head into the fall and the Christmas season. Look for Barbie merchandise. It's going to be a Barbie Christmas. And I guess all the political correctness and criticism, cultural criticism that has been heaped on Barbie really for decades is now, it's all forgiven. And now suddenly, I think in the interest of profit, the woke crowd is being told it's okay to like Barbie now because whatever the messaging is in this film, they've updated it, they've polished it up, and they've managed to integrate it into the current political environment in a way that is now accepted and is currently politically correct. What a comeback. Wow. And that's all they were talking about on the radio. And is that an accident? I say no. Why? Because, well, to some degree, it's organic. I know that it would be, just some of these talk show hosts deciding to talk about it, just as I am here right now, because they've put so much promotion behind it that it becomes difficult for them to ignore. But a lot of this is just driven by money, money, money. The media companies, I think, can smell the cash, can smell the advertising revenue that is likely to come their way as we head into the fall and the winter from Mattel as they promote the Barbie brand again. And if it's popular, then media companies, any kind of a program will benefit from talking about it as well, because it becomes the newest thing, the next thing for people to talk about. We're here talking about it right now. I feel like I'm being manipulated just because I'm speaking about it, but there it was like all day on the radio. I'm talking about the media response to all of this, the media being complicit in this. These movies, I don't care which political side you're on, like they're all driven by media companies. And a lot of these companies are vertically integrated, meaning that, yeah, like you look at Disney, they put out movies and then they also own other media assets like television stations, television networks. And then that stuff gets promoted. They talk about it on television to promote the movies, but it's the same company engaged in this. It's not like they're separate companies. You get overlap, of course, but I'm just saying that it's a system. It's a system from the studios right down to the theaters themselves. There's integration, cross-pollination, cross-promotion. Each media entity has its little role to play in the promotion of different media properties, franchises. And right now, that the franchise they're focused on is Barbie, baby. Because it was a Barbenheimer, Bebop-A-Luba weekend. And they're all celebrating because This was, I guess, the biggest movie weekend since like what, 2019 or something like that. And they're celebrating because the director of the Barbie movie is a woman. Okay. It doesn't matter to me if it's a man or a woman who directed anything. Good for her. She's got a $180 million hit in this one weekend on her hands. That means she's probably going to work again. So that's awesome for her. Awesome for Mattel. Awesome for your little girls. Awesome for your little boys. Because everybody plays with Barbies now, and it's politically correct. It's okay. You go ahead. Because I guess, if you think about it, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, breast augmentation, which was, taboo. You weren't supposed to do that anymore. That was politically incorrect. Don't do anything like that to your body. You're just caving into pressure from media. They're conditioning you. Do you remember all that talk? I certainly do. It was like, oh my goodness, if you do that to your body, that's just because the magazines and television shows, they're just brainwashing you to think that you have to do that to your body. And now look what they're doing. They've gone completely the other way. And it's like, yeah, like you can be anything you want to be. You can do it all through surgery. And it's all cool. And here's Barbie. We showed you the other night the person who first tried to be Ken and now has converted into a human Barbie. Spending, I don't remember how much money was spent. Was it nearly $1 million in surgeries? Yeah, I think it was like $800,000 or something like that had been spent to do that. And this person had been diagnosed with an actual mental disorder, and yet the doctors continue to provide the surgeries. And the mental condition, the mental illness, really acknowledged in many media reports by the person. I believe the person acknowledged it too, but continues to go on because got to feel better about it. Got to feel better about myself. I don't know, man. Like, I don't care really if people want to get a nose job or what. It doesn't matter to me, really. But it gets to a point, I think, where when I see something like that, I do feel sad. I feel like there's something wrong there. And I think of all the pain, the suffering that person must have gone through enduring all of those surgeries. And it's just not right. But anyhow, it's all politically correct now to do that stuff and a lot more as we're seeing. Doesn't seem right to me. Anyhow, we'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so let me see what else we have going on here. Oh, yes. A paddleboarder has been found dead near Barack Obama's home in Martha's Vineyard. Massachusetts State Police today found the body of a 43-year-old paddleboarder who had gone missing, and this discovery made near President Barack Obama's Martha's Vineyard estate just a day earlier. Police say the man was found in 8-foot deep waters of Edgartown, Great Pond. This was about 100 feet away from shore. So the authorities had been dispatched to Obama's home in response to a possible drowning Sunday. This after the man was seen going underwater and not resurfacing. They found the body just before 10 a.m. this morning. The identity of the person, the victim, has not yet been released. So we will continue to follow that as well. Here's a story from CBS News. And they're saying, is now a good time to buy an electric car? I'm going to just show you what they're reporting and then just give you a little information about what I went through today. Future of cars. 4 reasons why now is a good time to buy an electric vehicle. So they're saying that dealerships have more cars. They say that years ago, buying an electric vehicle usually meant jumping on a waiting list for a Tesla and being patient. So yes, it's true. Dealerships do have a lot more electric vehicles available. And hang on a second here. Here we go. So there you can see this article from CBS. So yeah, more dealerships have vehicles, no question about it. Auto companies, being really channeled into the production of electric vehicles through government policy, government grants, and so on. And they are producing them now, and you're seeing more of them on the road. There are a couple of people who own them right on my street now. I noticed a lot of people when I was driving back and forth to Toronto today. I saw quite a few new electric vehicles on the road. And as I say, I've been given the opportunity to drive an electric vehicle this week. And dealerships have more of them in stock. And as a result, it says here, and it's true, prices for electric vehicles are dropping. The average price for a new EV was $53,438 last month. These are U.S. numbers. That's according to data from the Kelley Blue Book. And that's down from $66,390 just 1 year ago. There are more charging stations out there. That's true. There are tax credits available in many jurisdictions. That's also true. So those are the reasons they're saying that it's maybe a good time to go out and buy an electric vehicle. So, you can go get one if you want. Now, I'll tell you more about this vehicle specifically as the week continues. But I drove that vehicle all the way back from Toronto today, and really nice. I have nothing really negative at this point to say about the vehicle at all, except that I will admit that I could not figure out for quite a while how to adjust the volume on the radio. I immediately found the right thing to push, but it wasn't working. It was driving me loopy. Anyway, the volume wasn't really that bad, so I would just let the radio play for a while. I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. You had to push the button and hold it, and it would take a moment. Takes a moment, and then the volume will be adjusted for you. It drove me nuts. I was just like pushing it and letting go too quickly, and it wasn't working. You have to push and hold and wait, and then it works. Anyway, every time you get in some new vehicle, you have to learn all the gizmos now, right? And I mean, this thing that they gave me to drive, it's a Kia, beautiful vehicle. And it's got everything under the sun. It's got bat radar, bat sonar, bat missiles, bat guns, batarangs. It's got the bat blade chopper thing that was down in the front thing. It's got sonar radar, bat dar, lidar, bat dar. It's got all the bat stuff. Really comfortable seats. And it's pure electric. So what was it doesn't really have it does. It has all that stuff. It's got more stuff than I can even tell you about. It's got so many gizmos. I have to find the gizmos within the gizmos. That's what the way all these vehicles are these days. Lane keep assist and bat self-drive and bat ejection seats and everything. It's cool. It's really cool. It's like a spaceship. And it's pretty fast, and it's an SUV. But I thought, I'll stop and charge up. So I've had electric vehicles before. And last year, when I had a couple, I stopped at some charging stations and I used my credit card. And it was really no big deal. I had to sit and wait for about half an hour to get a full charge, or close to 80% charge. And but today I stopped, and you had to download an app if you wanted to charge your vehicle. And I was like, how do I charge this thing? Well, the first charger I pulled up to was out of service, the very first one. Then the second one next to it, I realized, well, no, you have to download an app. You have to have an RFID card. And I was like, I don't have time to deal with this. I just want to pay and go. And I did last year, but I didn't go to the same place this time. Anyway, I thought, screw this. So me being an old fuddy-duddy set in my ways, and I don't like change, I admit it. I got in my vehicle, this super duper ultra space coaster UFO on wheels thing with all the bat gizmos. And I will go to another place. So I drove a little longer. I went to another one, and I stopped at a truck stop, and there's another charging station. I'll drive over to that one. Well, now it was a beautiful sunny day everywhere that I went, but there were these, like, of all the places, it was raining where I was. There was like this one spot, just story of my life today, where it's like this big giant black cloud was following me around. Like, I'm going to rain on your parade today, Rick, no matter where you go. No matter what you do, this black cloud's going to follow you around and just make your life dark. This beautiful sunny day. It was a gorgeous day everywhere, but of course I drove into like the one little, like a sun shower thing, but it's like raining just on me. So I get out and it's like pouring rain, and I can see the sunshine right over there and right over there, but no, on me, it's pouring rain. And when you pull up to get gasoline, I can see the gas station over there, and they've got a canopy, and it's not even raining over there at the other end of the parking lot, but on me, it's like a torrential downpour. And I'm like, why? I was good today. Why me? And I can't figure out how to use this newfangled charger thing. And so it's loud and it's pouring rain. And I'm like, if I plug this thing in, and it's a level 3 charger, and it's all wet, what are the chances of me being electrocuted? So I plug it, and then I'm like, okay, I can't, this isn't working. It looks like you have to do another app thing here or something. So I phoned the toll-free number, and I get this nice fella on the phone. But of course, he's not speaking my language, and I'm not speaking his language very well. And we're trying to speak to each other, and I'm getting soaked. It's pouring rain. And I'm like, yeah, could you help me explain what am I supposed to do with this charger? Because I'm an old dude, and I'm kind of EV illiterate. I mean, I I've had them and I kind of know. But this thing, this charger, it's like, I don't want to download the app. I just want to pay with my credit card and go. But no. You're stuck now on the highway. You got no other place to go to get electricity. And it's like, it's this or nothing. And if you want this, if you want the juice, you have to download the app. And the guy's like, okay, first of all, I need your name. I need your email address. I need all this other information. And then you have to go on the Google Play Store and you have to download the app. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm standing here in a rainstorm and I'm wet and about to get electrocuted by the level 3 super duper charger. And I don't know what to do. And he was trying to help me. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go climb back in the car and I'll talk to you in there because it's quieter because I couldn't even hear him. And then he goes, okay, now you have to give me the number off the charging unit. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get back out. So I go back out. I'm in the pouring rain. We're trying to read him the number. And I'm like, and finally I was like, dude, I don't want to download an app. I don't want to get tracked. I don't want you having all this information about every mile that I drive and how many kilowatts per hour I'm burning up and stuff. So you can go report me to the JT, Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, New World Order, energy police, and get the climate change cops on me and crap just because I drove too far in the electric super duper Batmobile thing. It's red. It's not black, but it's the same damn thing. So I was like, I was just going to charge up before I went home because it's a level 3 charger, charges way faster. But I had enough juice. I could see the range was there. And, to the automaker's credit, impressive range on this electric vehicle today. So I was able to, I just said, thank you very much, but I think I'm just going to go home. I'm just getting too wet. I don't want to have to sit here and download apps and stuff right now. So it's just a big hassle. Now, I guess that once you get used to it, if you download the app and everything, maybe it'll be a lot better. I just don't really want to have to download an app just to charge up the car. I just want to kind of get the juice and go. But no, you got to download the app on your phone. And everything's got to be all super technical and stuff. I as beautiful as this Kia is, and I'm sure that I'll learn to appreciate it more, as I did the Mustang Mach-E last year. There are a lot of things that I did like about it, I confess. And this is a beautiful, beautiful car. But it's going to take some real getting used to because it's a lifestyle change. I mean, I have this old beater of a Volkswagen Golf, and I love that thing to bits. It's economical. It's simple. I just pull up to the pump under a canopy, even when it's raining. I don't get wet. I put the nozzle in. I pull the trigger. I go in. I pay cash. That's what I did this morning. And the guy behind the counter said, would you like a receipt for that? And I said, well, that would be great. And he said, you have a great day. And I had a nice human interaction with a cashier. And I climbed back in my old Volkswagen, which ain't worth a bag of chips, which is what I love most about it, because it is so super cheap. And if it gets a dent, I'm like, that looks awesome. And this thing, when I get cars like this, I'm always afraid. I'm so petrified that it's going to get even a hair of a scratch or something on it because it's not mine. So I have to be super duper careful with them. beautiful car. But yeah, these electric vehicles, it's a lifestyle change. So I got it home, still range left on it. They're improving all the time. So this thing had well over 300 kilometers of range when I picked it up, and still some juice left in it. It's in my driveway, but it's plugged into the 110 outlet here at the house right now. So I don't know how long that will take to charge, but a long time. Not doing the level 3 chargers, about half an hour you get an 80% charge, but here it'll probably be on charge all night, all day tomorrow. And it probably still won't be at like even 60% or whatever. I don't know. I'll do the math. I'll give you all the details about that. So if you do get an electric vehicle, what you're going to want at your house is to have a level 2 charger installed, because that will make it practical. Then you can charge it at home. It charges fast enough that you can, it's a reasonable amount of charge time. Not as fast as level 3, but just plugging it into the 110, I know from having them before, this ain't going to work. It's not going to work. You got to charge it for a week to drive it like 10 miles. Well, it's not quite that bad, but it's pretty bad. You need the faster charger. Then it becomes more practical. But I really didn't want to download the app today. I'm just having aversion to it. And more than that, it was just an issue of time. I needed to get back here. I had work to do. I couldn't just sit around and lollygag and download apps and get into all of that and register for everything. Look, I guess I'm just old and stubborn, set in my ways. And that's the truth. I admit it. Don't go away. More ahead.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, hang on a second here. I want to show you this. It's let me just pull this down first of all. Okay, this is a volcano in Iceland erupting. Live footage. I hope you can see that now. Here we go. Get it up on the screen for you. Here we go. So there's a volcano erupting in Iceland, live. I'll get you some audio with that too. How do you like that? So this is an eruption, and it is in a small depression situated north of Litli Horitur? I don't know where that is. And it's releasing smoke in a northwesterly direction. And smoke has been visible from the road which connects the capital to the international airport in Iceland. And a lot of people are stopping their cars and photographing this, videotaping it. And we have this live stream tonight. And there were a lot of earthquakes, small earthquakes over the past week that led up to this eruption of this volcano. Pretty cool. But also potentially dangerous. So this is being monitored, of course, for safety reasons, but wow. Power of nature, man. Mother Nature. Pretty cool stuff. And did you hear about this huge storm out in Nova Scotia? I guess it was like 3 months worth of rain, all in like one day in Nova Scotia. Was that what it was? I'm going to look up the details on this. Out in the Maritimes, anyway. Yeah, so out in Nova Scotia, they found the body of a 52-year-old man from Windsor, Ontario, and the remains of a second person has also been found. So a man, a youth, and 2 children were reported missing Saturday after 2 separate vehicles were caught in floodwaters out there in Nova Scotia while efforts were underway to evacuate the area. So quite a storm. They say 250 millimeters of rain fell. And there were roads affected, a lot of infrastructure, vehicles. $250 millimeters here. It says fell all within like just one day. Let's see if I can get you some video of that. Here we go. Yeah, let's pull out of the volcano and I'll show you Nova Scotia. Look at this. Here we go. All right, I've got it. See those vehicles completely submerged. Just the tops of the cars. Lights still on that one. People. See the people sitting on top of their car? The SUV. Very hard on farmland. Farmers suffering. Huge storm. Huge storm. Crazy stuff out there in Nova Scotia. So it is now 7:30. So let's go to the phones. I will get that cranked up while you guys watch this promo telling you what number to call. I will be right back after this.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975. Free. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back, and the number to call is 1-833-975-3733. Let's get the screen up here for everyone. Here we go. We'll get everything configured so we can start taking calls tonight. There we go. That's looking good there. And we've got our first caller queued up and ready to rock and roll. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello, how are you tonight?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I wasn't going to call you tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you for making me laugh so hard here, because I'm picturing you trying to charge this vehicle. I'm just killing myself laughing.
True story.
I don't think I've laughed that hard for a long time. You're saying this black cloud fall. It's just like, oh my God, what a joke it sounds like. Charging them the pain in the royal butt.
Yes, that's right. I don't know, why don't they give the people with electric cars the canopies too? No, just because they knew I was coming.
Yeah. Well, they will eventually, because when they change out the pumps on the charging stations, you'll still have your canopies.
Yes, I suppose.
Right?
I suppose.
So you drove that from Toronto back to where you live?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So what kind of range, like so you were saying you were going to charge, so were you getting low at that point, or were you just gonna charge it just to see what charging was like?
See, if I charge it here at home, I'd have to do the math or whatever, but it will probably take about a day and a half or 2 days to fully charge the thing on a 110 outlet. But if you go to a level 3 charger, you can do it in about a half an hour. So I thought, well, I'll stop, fully charge it, or get it, get a lot of, I'll top it up before I finish the journey home. And so that's what I was aiming to do. But I have to say that the range is impressive, well over 300 kilometers on a single charge with this vehicle, which is a lot better than it was even, a year ago. I had the Mustang Mach-E, and it wasn't, I don't think it was at that level yet, but they're all getting there, right? So the technology is improving, the battery capacity. I have to give them that.
Well, we have a couple of electric vehicles in town here, and we have a charging station over by our PV Mart, and it looks like a pretty massive plug. But I'm actually going to go over, because now you got my curiosity. Tonight when I go for my little drive, I'm going to go over and I'm actually going to have a look at it, because you know how you were saying about the app and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So now you got my curiosity if this is, because I can't see the PV Mart paying that bill. Because I mean, I've seen 3 cars using it, like 3 different ones. They sit there and they charge, and they go and they have a coffee or go to McDonald's or whatever while they're charging, right?
Well,
but it's just it just
I'm not sure, but
I mean,
like last year, the year before, there were places you could go to charge for free. I don't know if
yes, I did that.
But I think even here in town, there are at least 2 places where I can go plug in. They're level 2 chargers, not level 3, but you can plug in and charge, leave them sitting there to charge for free. The government pays for it.
Oh, well, there you go. Because, right now you're using your electricity and I wouldn't want your bill in a couple of days.
Yeah. But,
Charging that.
I don't like
Oh.
the idea of the free electricity because I see that as a regressive tax on people. That is like everybody, all the taxpayers are paying for that. That means that even the single mom working 2 jobs who still pays some level of income tax, who's just trying to make ends meet,
Right.
she's contributing to that as well. And then if I sit there and charge for free, I'm taking money out of her pocket. Well, I mean, it's the government, right? But I don't think it's right. I don't like it. But
No. I mean, and that's not going to go on forever, like you said. I mean, maybe at the beginning. I don't know. I figure if I have to go to buy an electric car, I'll just stop driving because no. But anyway, thanks for the laugh. But another reason I called you is I missed something. You were talking about, I heard something about Trudeau was shuffling his cabinet.
Yep.
But then you were saying something about maybe an election. Is that what you were talking about, or were you talking about in the States for the election coming up down there?
No, there's probably, I think it's an indication that there will be an election coming soon here in Canada. I think so.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I think that's a smart thing to do, but I don't know. I hate to see which way that's going to go because really I wouldn't want him to get back in again. That would be really not good. But I guess we'll have to see. No, I was just wondering why he was shuffling his cabinet, like why they would be doing that for the fall session. Like I see again, I don't understand a whole lot, but I did hear some about shuffling cabinets. I'm going, well,
because
why?
I think that those ministers, like even especially people like the transportation minister, you've got and then you've got Marco Mendicino, the public safety minister, with the Bernardo thing, all the controversy surrounding Mendicino. Right. So if he takes some of those ministers and shuffles them out of those roles, it's more difficult to attack and assign blame to those particular ministers. And Trudeau can also say, well, we've dealt with some of the issues in that department by putting someone new in there. Right. To deflect.
Right. Okay. That would make sense. Right.
Yeah.
That would make sense. And fixing, trying to come up with an idea for Biden. Yeah. They might as well just give that up because that ain't going to work either. So,
you gave him the shortest stairs and he's still almost tripped.
Yeah, I know. You know what? He could have 3 stairs and he's probably just still going to trip, even coming up onto a podium to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really, unless they put him in a wheelchair and tell him not to get up at all and push him up on a ramp, I can't see him not falling.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm hearing that people are saying they're doing that as an act, though.
What?
He's doing it so that people will feel sorry for him to re-vote for him. I can't see that being an act. I mean, he's literally falling. Like, he could, that last time he could have broke his hip when he fell at that cadet thing there.
Yeah.
Like how I just laugh at people like, where do you get these ideas from? Because it's mind boggling. It really is. But anyways, I wasn't going to bother you tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you for laughing because I was just on the floor laughing because you're so funny when you get going. You're hilarious. So thank you for that. And you have a good night, Rick.
All right. Thanks, Chris. See ya. Bye. Bye. Okay. Steve is up next. Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm all right, Rick. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
I guess what I have to say doesn't really pertain to anything you covered, but I hope you don't mind and will indulge me. There's been an interesting court case that took place in Israel. And you know how governments seem to have trends that run through them as opposed to, like across them from one government to another. Mm-hmm. This one is something I took notice of because I don't want it to come here. But, you know, our Supreme Court or the American Supreme Court, you know, will test laws. In Israel, a court case, or has, well, I don't know if, I guess it was a court case, I'm not sure now that I think about it, how this happened, but the Supreme Court over there won't be able to overturn unjust laws. That's what I took from what I had seen. It was on a news program I was watching. So anyway, that's a new law that's on the books in Israel that was concerning. So if there's a policy or you know, a government mandate or whatever, now you can't take it to court and have the Supreme Court overrule it. It's the other way around in Israel. You know how we can take something to court if we feel it's unjust, like a new law, for instance, we can take it to court.
Yeah.
Apparently, in Israel, that's a thing of the past as of now.
So what
I'm just concerned.
The Israeli parliament has passed a law stripping the Supreme Court of its power to block government decisions, the first part of a planned judicial overhaul that has sharply divided Israeli society and drawn fierce criticism from the White House. The controversial bill passed by a vote of 64-0.
So do you understand that kind of the same way I do then?
Well, it's just,
I'm glad you can pull it.
It's just what I'm reading from, you know, this first report. So what else can I tell you from what I'm just reading about it? All members of the governing coalition voted in favor of the bill. Opposition lawmakers walked out of the chamber as the vote was taking place. Angry protesters gathered outside. They tried to block access to the building. They were met with barbed wire and water cannons. 19 people arrested. Thousands of military reservists, including over 1,100 Air Force officers, said even before the bill passed that they would refuse to volunteer for duty if it did.
Kind of extreme, I think.
Yeah, pretty extreme. What's the point of all this? So, former prime minister said that he would file a petition with the Supreme Court Tuesday to block the law and has urged the military reservists to not refuse to serve until the court delivers its ruling. So this is called the reasonableness law, and it takes away the Supreme Court's power to block government decisions by declaring them unreasonable. If this law passes, it could trigger a constitutional crisis. The Movement for Quality Government, an Israeli non-governmental organization, filed a petition with the Supreme Court immediately after the vote took place, asking the court to declare the law illegal on the grounds that it changes the basic structure of Israeli democracy and requesting that it block its implementation. So, yes, I see that this is troublesome.
Well, I'm glad you find it concerning. I did, and sure hope it's not contagious.
Yeah. And a lot of protests, I guess, there as a result of this, still ongoing. Yeah, that's pretty extreme. That's pretty extreme.
I saw footage, like while they were talking, they ran B-roll showing footage of them inside the chamber there, and yeah, they were walking out. They were pretty upset.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well.
And yeah, I just hope it doesn't come here to roost as well.
I don't know. I mean, the different legal system, different political system over there than what we have. So I can't speak with any real degree of authority or knowledge on this subject because I don't have enough information on the way that the system works over there.
Yeah, I just hope our government doesn't think that, well, that's a good idea. We wouldn't run into problems like we did a couple of years ago, or even though they managed to get almost every case tossed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just had me concerned when I saw it. I mean, I'm thinking about here in Canada. I don't know. I mean, I could only imagine how I'd feel if I was in Israel and that came through, but Israel is always a sensitive topic, and a lot of their political picks are hot potatoes, really. So
yeah.
Now, having said that, could I do an abrupt change of subject?
Sure, go ahead.
To the Orkney Islands.
To the which islands?
The Orkney Islands, the UK.
Okay.
So you imagine this. They're separating from the UK to join Finland because of, I mean, they have the oil fields, offshore oil fields there, and Britain has that like zero policy on drilling. So apparently they'll be leaving, and there'll be a territory of Finland, self-governing territory of Finland, and I guess, well, probably technically the oil field is the same patch that Finland uses, like offshore. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting when you think about, like, here's a region that is separating from the rest of the UK. We talk here a lot about, let's say Alberta separating or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, California is in the process of becoming 2 states. So, I mean, these are things that people talk about, but they are actually happening. I mean, the countries are fracturing over the politics that we see this day. And, it's very concerning. And for anybody who thinks, oh, that'll never happen, it's something that we need to take serious here in Canada, because that may just happen. Like you say all the time, we're a tinderbox. And so I see these politics in other countries, and then I think, it's so similar to what goes on here in so many ways. And that's another concerning issue, is the fracturing of our country. And
yes,
like you point out often, we're at a tipping point where that's not so far away, possibly.
Yeah. And
California, you probably heard about California. There's going to be a 51st state. I mean, there's a region that's breaking off. I think they're taking parts of a couple other states with it as well. I'm not sure exactly, but that's, as far as I understand, that's going to happen. I mean, it's already a done deal. It's just a matter of getting it through the rest of the paperwork and waiting out the time that they need to wait out. Anyway,
we shall see. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract from your topics tonight.
No, that's okay. No, just more information for people and other stories that all deserve attention, and good ones at that. So, thank you for bringing all that stuff up.
Yeah, well, and you know how I feel about electric cars, so I'll just make one comment, and I hope you have your fire insurance up to date, Rick. Just, I don't wish you any bad luck, but it makes me nervous to know that, you're driving around in an electric car. I try to discourage my doing it, so I'm going to try and discourage you from doing it as well. They make me so nervous, and when they're out of control, I mean, the weight of those batteries, it's a hard beast to get back. So don't lose control, please.
Oh no!
You said SUV. Is it 4-wheel?
Yeah, it is actually.
Sorry?
I think it is. I have not really had time to spend a lot of time with the vehicle, so I'll share more about it all through the week this week.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of electric cars have front and rear wheel drive, regardless, right? It seems to be pretty common. You have your different. I was going to say rotor. I can't think of what they're called there. The motor. Anyway. All right. Good luck, Rick. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Let's move on to the next caller. Who do we have on the line now?
Hi, Rick.
Hello. Who's this?
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
This is Astra Strauss calling.
Well,
this is my first time calling.
Well, thank you for calling. It's great to have you here.
Well, yeah. Well, I just want to point one thing about my name, which is actually my real name. Strauss is Astra, and Strauss is my first name. But my family's from Latvia.
Okay.
And it's very interesting how I support Putin. And people on the chat have asked me a few times, like, where are you from, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm from Latvia. Well, what do you think about Putin? Well, as I was raised to hate the Soviet Union. but I see clearly because of your show and other podcasters, what is actually happening in Ukraine.
Mhm.
And I do support Putin, which is kind of unusual for being someone from the Baltic region. You know what I mean, Rick?
Yes, I do. I understand.
Yeah. Well, I just want this to be clear. And I also, in the chat, I said, this is my 60th birthday today.
Well, happy birthday.
I'm a couple of years older than you are. Yeah. 60 years young. Remember that when you'll be 60.
Well, I'm getting there too.
I'm a fan of your
I'll probably catch up
I
soon.
know, Rick. I know. Well, I would like to also extend to all my Maverick chat friends, thank you for wishing me a birthday too. Also, why I'm also calling is Lori Spencer, how I adore her,
Mm-hmm.
and her support of RFK. I support him too, even though, as you know, we as a Canadian, I live in Markham, we can't vote, but we could always put our support behind a good candidate.
Sure.
Yeah. And this is my first time calling. I'm kind of a little bit nervous, but I just want to say I'm a big fan of your show. You really have done an awesome job. And thank you for bringing truth. And about Trudeau, don't get me started about Trudeau. I have a bit of a disagreement with you, sir.
Okay.
I think that we have to, unfortunately, we have been pushed to a level where we have to, that these protesters have said very vulgar things, and I'm quite aware of that. But you know what? I think maybe if he would just get the message, maybe that's why he's doing a cabinet shuffle, and maybe that's why he might be calling an election. Because you know what? It has to hurt. Because I do remember when Christine Anderson at the European Parliament really told him how his presence was not welcome. I don't know, Rick, if you noticed this, but he was crying a little bit. And the world hates him. Doesn't matter if he goes to any city in Canada, United States, Europe, people just hate him. And it must eat at him. What do you think about that? Do you think it must a little bit, even though he's a narcissist? And do you not think that maybe it's kind of hurting him? What is your opinion about that?
You mean like personally to him?
Yeah, because I did notice, if you watch that again at the European Parliament, he had a bit of tears. If you watch the whole thing. And like this one lady said, well, you're always welcome. And he said, oh, thank you. I noticed that little minute things. And I really think that it has to be at some level. And so even though I have a friend, I live in a condominium in Markham, and one of my neighbors was in Hamilton, and he made an observation about Trudeau. He said when they were cussing him out, he looked down. As soon as the cameras were on him, that's when he smiled. I don't know if anyone else reported that, because my friend saw this firsthand. And it has to be that the world does hate him. What's your viewpoint about this?
I think that there are some people who hate him,
right?
Probably on a level that is not rational, because they're so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people who don't like him,
right,
who are more rational,
right.
And I think there are a lot of people who still do like him because they are also either liking him for whatever political reasons they have, where they're still not terribly emotional about it, but then there are also the people who are super hardcore and very emotional and irrational in their love of him. So I think it's just very polarized. And I think that what you're seeing on the streets is not a true representation of the Canadian electorate. I think that it is choreographed. I think that it is a group of people who follow him around, or it's a coordinated effort to do what they did there. To exert pressure on him and create the perception that you're talking about, which is that everyone hates him. But I think if you look at the polls,
it's interesting, Rick.
I think it's still very split, but it is more and more and more polarized. No question about that. There's more.
But it's interesting, Rick, because there are people. Rick, may I just interrupt you for one moment? What is interesting, people that I know who don't even follow politics. They don't watch Maverick News. They don't even watch mainstream media. But what I have also noticed, that people who are not political, I have friends who are really not political. I have yet to find one person who has said to me, I like Trudeau. They see his arrogance. They perceive him, even though they really don't follow mainstream media, but they look at him and they say, who is this guy? He's looking down on us. So I don't know. I was going to.
Yeah. I don't think it's that unusual.
I was going to. But I remember his father. And I remember I personally didn't like him. I even remember Trudeau when he was born and when Pierre was married Margaret. But I'll be honest with you, it's never happened before, this level of hatred. He goes to European cities. He is protested. I've yet to see one other prime minister ever be protested in just the way he has been. I'll be honest with you. It has never happened that. Is it social media? I don't know. I put it to you. Because everyone hates him. And what you said about the cabinet shuffle, let's deal with that. Yeah, well, I'm sure, I would say, kind of sure maybe in the fall we'll have an election. I don't know. Put it out there, because this is a Canadian soap opera, in my opinion. That's what I was going to write in the chat. This is a Canadian soap opera. And he's a village idiot. That's the way I'd like to say it.
I've said many times for a long time. I've said that he is the worst prime minister in Canadian history.
The worst prime minister ever. The worst. Yeah.
So, but
I don't want to go into it, but
I'm not surprised to see these protests in this way. I'm not surprised. I totally understand the emotion. I totally get it. I don't know that it's wise, because I think that those people who are inclined to support him, like Trudeau and the Liberals are always trying to portray the freedom fighters as a bunch of redneck, toothless hicks who are stupid and racist and misogynistic and all these things and boorish.
Yeah, I know.
And so as soon as you engage in that kind of behavior, that I think to some degree is a potential trap. And that's why when the same thing happened back in January in Hamilton,
I got you for that. Sir, I got you for that. How about what's happening in Israel? I've watched the protests. You know what? Yeah. Well, the world is exploding, and we don't want any tyranny ever to put their thumb, because like I mentioned before, my family is from Latvia, and I could tell you stories, but I won't tonight, about, what my family has gone through. I'll be honest with you. My grandfather, my mom's father, was executed by orders of Stalin. Okay, so it kind of is deep down, even though now I'm supporting Putin, because I see about all the corruption of Ukraine, about Biden, and frankly, something that has never been touched. Has anyone ever thought about, Biden's corruption with Ukraine, that doesn't have a tiny bit to do with why we're supporting the war in Ukraine? I mean, let's face it, Biden was the one who put pressure on Trudeau to invoke the Emergency Act. Okay? And because, it's all Putin, a man who's brain dead, let's face it. And about him, he should be wearing one of those bubble suits so when he falls, he doesn't hurt himself anymore. So anyways, thank you for your time.
I just want to
Rick.
ask a quick question, but I'm just going to make a point.
Yes.
We should not underestimate the size and the passion of the people on the liberal woke side. It's
I know that.
Right. So that's why when Trudeau is pointing at the protesters or the people who are shouting at him, and then he says, "See, I told you that's what they're like."
Yeah.
And then those people on the other side are like, "Yeah, they're a bunch of redneck, toothless hicks."
Yeah.
Right. So he uses that to shore up his base of support and polarize people even more. I wanted to come back though, and you just mentioned that your family member was targeted by Stalin, and can you just provide?
That's right, my grandfather. Just to give a little bit of a historic perspective. My grandfather, my father was born in Riga, Latvia, and my mother was born in Kemers, which was a Baltic Sea resort. And my grandfather apparently was a threat to the Soviet because he was a very civic-minded, popular man in Kemers. Just to give a little bit of a historic perspective. And with the purge, Stalin didn't tolerate any dissent. And, well, dare I say more?
Yeah.
Your question, Rick?
Well, I just wanted to get your perspective because I don't know if you saw you've seen Lori, and she's wonderful, but she talks about Stalin.
I say to her, I just wanted to also say to Lori, tell RFK hey from me because I'm a supporter of him.
Yeah.
And by the way, Rick, I flew to Reagan's lying in state when he passed away. My family gave me the blessing, and I flew and said goodbye to the Gipper as well.
Wow.
So you know where I stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing the story. During the program the other night, I did finally, after biting my tongue for many broadcasts, when Lori and friends have been talking about Stalin and sort of putting him on a bit of a pedestal. And he was no saint. He killed millions of people.
No. And my grandfather as well. Yes, sir.
Yep. And in Latvia, I don't know how many exactly, but tens and tens of thousands, probably 50,000, 100 to 100,000 people killed by Stalin in Latvia.
Right.
So these political figures through history, they're complicated people. Every human being has good and bad in them. I mean, Hitler liked German shepherds and treated dogs well, but didn't treat some human beings as well as he treated dogs.
I do know that, yes.
Right? So
That's right. That's right.
And Stalin also did some really horrific things, and not just to a few people,
That's right.
but to millions. So
That's correct,
no
sir.
saint to me. But that being said, there's political pragmatism, and yes, we you know, I look at the leaders of these big countries as a bunch of gangsters, all of them. Honestly,
I do too. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, me too.
It's just a big gang war all the time.
Unfortunately, United States has a brain dead one.
Yes,
but that's another
right.
story.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. The man falls asleep. The man falls down. And thank you, Rick, for bringing all the times he has fallen down. I had a good laugh. I'll be honest with you. I don't have the best of health. I'm being under care. I had the strength tonight to call you. I usually would like to, but I might even have cancer. But I just wanted just to, you know, my health is not too good, but I just felt tonight I wanted to reach out to you, Rick, and give you my story a little bit.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Thank you. I'm glad that you did.
Yeah, because I love your show, and I love all my people. Like today was my birthday, and I spent thanking everyone in the chat. You could go through it. I thanked everyone, Amnesty, etc., etc. And thank you for bringing me what I'm going through. I'm going through emotional and a lot of things. I have a pain, and thank you, Rick, for everything you have given me, because I look forward to your show, and I just wanted to, but now you've given me the courage to call in again, and if there's a topic, I'd like to call in. And thank you for everything that you have done. You have made my life. Thank you. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
A privilege to have you on, and I look forward to the next.
And by the way, Astra Strauss is my real name, and you've probably seen me in the chat. And like I said, tell Lori to say hey to RFK, because I really respect him. Like I said, I flew to Reagan's Lion State. I have memorabilia from that trip. I just think that, you know, Lori is terrific. And I wish that you guys could be more together more times, because I love that lady too. And just like, I'll say it again, tell her to say hey from Astra Strauss to RFK. And I'm going to let you go, and the next caller. Well, thank you very much for making my day.
Well, don't you go away yet. There's one more thing we have to do. And that is,
what is that,
people
sir?
in the chat are telling me that I have to knight you. So here we go.
Oh no! I'm gonna cry.
The Maverick family do hereby dub thee an official Maverick Knight.
Oh my
Freedom
goodness.
fighter extraordinaire. May your courage and devotion to freedom and truth become a shining example to the people of our world and the Maverick universe. Maverick News. The world is watching.
There you are. You're now an official Maverick Knight, Dame.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. I have a very quick question for you. Do you, my niece works in Detroit. She is an engineer at GM. Do you know Katie Sloman by any chance?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, she's an engineer. I thought you're in the automotive.
Yeah.
I just want to know. Well, thank you for knighting me.
Well, it's again, my privilege, and please don't be afraid to call in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You know what? Like I said, you're a knight as well, and I salute you, and I'm saluting you too. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Astra.
Okay?
All right. You have a great night.
And good night. And you will, pardon?
You have a great night.
I will have a great, yes, I will. And you too. And I will talk again. Thank you for inviting me.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, and we have, I think it's Marcia. Is it Marcia? I don't know. Go ahead. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Is that me?
Yeah, who is this?
Oh, this is Raphael.
Raphael. I don't know why the screen says Marcia. Pretty weird. Anyway, but
Rick,
welcome back, sir.
All right, Rick, just like that lady, I must say that every night I look forward listening to you, watching you, because your demeanor is so calm, so peaceful. You cannot transfer that to us because in that hectic world. Rick, I want to ask you a question because you got it. You always understand those things. Can you explain to me, and probably everybody is asking the same thing? The Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken, he went on TV yesterday in front of everybody, and he said Ukraine won 50% of his territory back already. I mean, everybody is watching TV. Everybody knows there's not a scintilla of truth in what he said. Can you explain to me why will somebody at his level will take a chance, a risk like that? I'm not getting it. I mean, it's becoming comical. That means for you to tell a lie like that everybody in the world knows is not true. Can you explain to me that thought process? Thank you.
I don't know what goes on in Mr. Blinken's head, nor in Joe Biden's head. I can only speculate. I would say that that is something that we should find troubling. It indicates to me that they are not prepared to let this go, that they will escalate and throw in more and more money, resources, and I fear people at this. And when I say people, I mean our sons and daughters. They'll escalate this war at some point. I think they're willing and ready to do it. And statements like that are meant to shore up public support for their war effort. They need the public support in order to continue what they're doing. It's just on that level, it's obvious and simple. But how far are they willing to go? Well, with that level of propaganda, I would say it's an indication that they're ready to go a lot further. And that should concern us all. I hope that helps you. Let's move on to the next caller. Go ahead. You're back on the air. Who's this? Is this Rob?
Yes, it's Rob, Rick.
How you doing tonight?
So sit back on your couch and tell me about your day. I'll tell you, it's come up in your conversation with your last lady caller. Said it was the first time that she had called in, and then Steve. I think Steve called in before her.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Steve was on,
yeah. And this thing about Israel, the topic actually came up twice. And I'm trying to sort it all out here, but then again, you was talking about the new Barbie movie and people's state of mind and connection to it. So I would like to just say to Steve that there's a reference number. It's not a date number. It's known as 1733. And it correlates to everything that's being talked about, especially pertaining to Israel. 1733 was a Gregorian calendar common era. It gives a date there between 1001 and 2000. Also, it directly correlates to 1923, and then this year would correlate to the 100th anniversary of events that actually happened in that moment. Certain religions were founded around that inside the United States. But back to Israel, it was known as a German-American, it was a peace treaty, friendly agreement that was made in treaties between the United States and other countries. In 1923, it was actually sealed into the laws, which means it gave Israel the right to be more of a sovereign situated institution, and they guarded their army by not allowing them to vote. Actually, they wouldn't. Back in the same date, what's going on now pertains to that, which means that the treaties still stand. These treaties between Germany and America were not put to death. Some of them still exist to this day, and it was over common goods that were being transported between countries. And that was the friendly treaties. It didn't end until it was one of the parts where the United States actually helped to empower Adolf Hitler and the Third. It's kind of complicated. But back to the Barbie thing, that also in the year of 23, 100 years anniversary, Roy and Walt Disney were founded. It's an important date. It correlates about what's going around in history. In history, they say, Rick, history has a tendency to repeat itself. The USSR was established 2/23 of 1923, actually. People don't really understand that, but there was agreements that pertain to the Gulf and Israel and the passage there. And it was signed by the United States. And there was actually some other countries that were born into their own sovereignty. For the first time in the United States, the fraternities were established in the biggest one. I'm trying not to get ahead of it, but the American Law Institute was established in 1923, 100-year anniversary.
Yeah, so I appreciate everything you're saying, and this numerology stuff is sometimes very interesting. Right now, though, I think you're throwing so many numbers at us that I'm even having a little trouble kind of keeping up with you.
There was a lot. There was actually a lot that happened 100 years ago, and it's coming back. But what it's saying is it's saying the same thing that was happening previous to World War II conflict is on our doorsteps, actually. To where the food, the grains, everything that was involved in the friendly treaties between the Germans and the American and their allied nations is directly points to it.
Right.
People only want to hear what they want to hear from a politician, but history is true. But sorry to hear about your electric car problems. And is it Google friendly? Can you tell the radio to go up and down? Does it talk to you?
It's not on Google, so I don't know what the keyword was. So I couldn't use the voice activation. I need to learn the car. Yeah. I'll spend some time in the morning going through the manual so I can learn how to run all the bat gizmos, the bat radar and the bat lasers and all this stuff. Right?
Yeah. We got a good feeling all our days are coming on that.
Yeah.
But the dates, if people get behind numbers and dates, I go by the 100th year anniversary, and this is pretty significant. It was a lot of stellar beliefs and stuff. The Jesuits in 1923 were established for the first time in fraternities inside the colleges inside this country, and people don't really understand
Can I
it.
kind of get you to wrap up for us, though, Rob, because I've got some other people in the queue.
Well, I'm pretty wrapped up, man. I mean, it just has a coalition. I just thought I'd throw that number out there. It's noted anything attached to 1733. It's going to go back to the Gregorian calendar, and then it'll lead you right back up to what you want to answer about Israel and what may be going on there. And King Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in 1923 also. Well, have a good day, Rick.
Thank you, Rob.
Pleasure talking to you.
Always a pleasure for me as well. And
All right.
who do we have in the line next?
Finally, it's me, Reese.
Well, Reese, welcome back, my friend. Long time no speak.
Yes, welcome.
I saw that Detroit area code, and I thought, well, who would that be calling? And it's you. Glad
that you know that the Detroit area code is still me. So, yes, so I called to talk of the great state of Florida and about some issues that no one's talking about right now. And I am very livid, okay, at the so-called females go over here inside of the States, since they think that all of them are just gonna steal a guy's cash and everything. They're upset at Governor DeSantis, right? Because he is getting rid of alimony, permanent alimony. Okay, as they say. But here is the reason why. They're thieves. They are stealing every guy's like stuff. So everything they have worked their asses off so hard for to earn, okay? They are stealing their money. They are stealing their houses. And especially, I can't stress this enough, the children. They are taking everything of a man away from them. And so all because, thanks to the great governor of Florida, stopping them in their thievery forever, they are ticked off. Then on top of the whole thing involving like homosexuality and shit going on as I'm gonna say this again. I have no issue if you are gay, so as long as it is completely directed towards adults only, like I am okay. However, if you involve children, that's a problem for me, because then it turns into a huge issue. However, staying on the entire thing of the thievery and everything, dude, these modern women, I've been listening to information about this stuff. Oh man, you're gonna be excited. Modern women believe that all of them are so-called somehow under the control of guys, when clearly no, they're not. We men have gotten oppressed for thousands of years throughout history. And even more today, women are somehow saying that all of guys in general are crazy, creepy, evil. I'm going to say this now. Some guys are. However, me, I have never done anything evil to a female in my life. Not once. And yet they are blaming me for things they've done that is wrong in their lives. They think they are entitled to having my stuff and my money when they haven't earned nothing. Women are committing thievery of today's so I would say maybe time showing everything is that and it's just completely sickening to me.
So do you think
that
men
not
should be paying any
okay, look, if you haven't been paying attention, and I can tell right now you haven't been paying attention.
I hear what you're saying.
Guys nowadays Even myself, a 24-year-old, I'm 24 now. Recently at the start of this month, I turned 24 on July 3rd. Okay, so a young man like me having to hear this stuff clearly is the truth. They are trying to take away everything from me, thinking that they can turn me into their servant. Like, no. They think that I should, like, they honestly believe that I should stay on my knees as a servant to them. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Me, I'm against the status quo. Stuff going on, I'm against it. They cannot completely tell me how to do anything. They are criminals deep down. They have stolen a lot of stuff from guys.
When you say
so
they,
I am glad.
Who's they, Reese? Just women?
So it's the females of today. The females of everything going on now. It's just crazy. Like, you got to see all this information. Like, trust me.
I mean, whack. I know that
females can just
the legal system, the way that they, the different jurisdictions, the way they deal with divorce and alimony payments and all of that stuff.
It's in general. It's in general, Rick.
Yeah.
It's in general. Mm-hmm. These women, that they have stolen everything from guys. So all because of them doing stupid stuff, they are going after other guys, even myself, indirectly, and always trying to frame things that I never did.
How are they coming after
off of stuff they have done?
How are they coming after you? They
are saying nonsense that makes no sense. They are saying that I did this and that and and all that stuff. They think I'm going to end up a simp, though I'm not a simp. I do not simp for any woman who is not going to do anything in her life to have everything.
Are you in court for any of this stuff now, or why do you feel that you're being targeted?
No. No, I am just stating an opinion.
Okay.
It's all I'm doing. Is stating an opinion from information that I have heard. Oh, and heard, I meant heard lately. And it is very insightful, trust me.
Okay. Well, listen, Reese, I'm just going to get you to give us a final thought here so we can move on to our next caller.
Yep, I know it's just going slow at the moment, so I will be quick. So I hope you guys are doing great and everything. So I hope that you all stay safe, keep on fighting, stand strong against the evil going on here in the West. This entire nation here in the West is crumbling. We must stand firm and stand strong against the evil. Okay? Never give up fighting. Turn into a rebel. Go against them. Okay? See y'all later.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you, Reese. Yes. Peace to you too, my
See you
friend.
later.
Thank you. And
I'll be in the shadows.
Okay. Well, don't be in the shadows too long. Call back again. We miss you. Okay. Let's go to, I think it's Pam. I think Pam is up next. Dom Palm.
Am I on?
You are.
And then, hello, Sir Richard. Oh, I miss you. I wasn't on. I was on hold last night, and then Lori said she wanted to come up, and I got cut off, and I'm a bit jealous, I must say. But
I'm so sorry.
all right. Because
I'm so sorry. Yeah, there were some other people in the queue that we didn't get to last night. That darn Lori.
I know, but she does a wonderful job.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She does.
Yes,
she's
but I
awesome.
must say I was a bit jealous. I am a woman. I am not a woman. I'm a lady. And in reference to your last caller, I hear a little bit of what he's saying. Men should be gentlemen, but heroes in protecting their families, and women should be ladies, not like that thing yelling at the Bellevue video that was showed that you showed where she's yelling all these swear words, and you couldn't hear what other people were saying. And at the end of her interview, she said something strange. It was like, I've had many women or something like that, and that's what I heard over my stream when I listened to her. And I went, what the heck does that mean? And she had wider shoulders than all the men that were around her. Yeah. So I don't know what that was. I think it was a plant. I think it was a plant.
You think that woman? You think that woman was a plant?
Yes, like an Antifa or an actor or something, because she was yelling so loud and swearing so much. And a lot of Canadians, when they go to these protests, they're not like that. There was another group that was saying traitor. Well, I can understand that, but I can't understand what she was saying. And it was just F you, F you, F you. It was not, it's not progressive. It's not going to get you anywhere. And it's the words that she spoke were vulgar.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think she was a plant. I'm pretty sure I've seen her at other demonstrations.
Well,
okay. I think she was very emotional.
She's probably an actor.
I think she was very emotional.
That tells me she's probably a paid actor. Look at her shoulders. And why did she say watch that video again? She said, I had many women. Like, what's that all about?
I'm not even gonna go down that road. I don't know. Yeah. I think she was talking about people being pushed by the cops or something. I think that's what it was about, or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know. It wasn't clear to me, but her shoulders were wider than all the men that were the Trudeau's bodyguards. Her shoulders were wider. I mean, I know a lot of big women. I was in the service. I was in the armed forces, and some have very big shoulders, wider than mine. But I've never seen any kind of shoulders like that.
Well, I'll be sure to mind my P's and Q's if I'm around her. I don't want to get her upset with me, lest I get pushed around. So.
No, me. I mean, oh boy, she could finish one off quite quickly with those shoulders. But I mean, I just wanted to say that. And now the other thing I wanted to say was, I really like. I understand what your last caller was saying about numerology and things, and maybe that's something you want to look into. But, so many of us are being misguided because they don't tap into their inner knowing of seeing the larger picture. And what you're doing, my dear Sir Richard, is you are covering both Canadian and American issues, and I think that's wonderful. But I don't think that. I think there's more to Trump, behind Trump, than what you're covering Kennedy, and I like that too. I mean, they're both cousins of mine. I like that, but and Kennedy is really speaking out on this horrible thing. But I'm watching all these Senate hearings and whatnot, and no one's looking into the actual. They're not revealing the actual fact of the patents that were made. And I downloaded all these patents. I've got copies of them, and these patents. It's evidence of where this last thing that has destroyed our society for the last 2 years came from, and it's just not being covered by governments, and they must know. I mean, you have to put these patents into government offices to get them filed. So our governments are not telling us what people really need to know, and we could spend all this money of taxpayers' dollars having all these Senate hearings and Senate things going on in Parliament in Canada and the same thing in the US, and they're not covering it. And they come on and they're doing their little political spiels, but no one's getting to the root of the problem. Just go back to the original patents and look at them and see what's in there. But nobody's covering it. No one.
Well,
I don't know what you have to say about that.
I'm not sure what to say about it. When it comes to patents, people send me stuff like that, and it's a patent itself is not proof of something necessarily.
Your channel would be shut right down if you covered it. Your channel would be shut right down if you covered it, and you might even be homed. But I don't know why these politicians that are ruling us now, and they are ruling us now, they're not. This is not a situation where the people have say anymore. This is a state of ruling. They are ruling, and they're following a certain playbook, but no one is covering what is in the patent offices, and that's all I have to say about that issue. Now, on to something more perky and positive. How I want to send you some money because, without my American cousins, I wouldn't have gotten through this period, because I applied for my pension a few months back, and that was when the government was on strike, and they said, oh, it wouldn't affect pensions. Well, that's true to a certain point if you were already on them. But while you were waiting for them, no, it did affect me. And they sent me a letter, and they wanted to know every address that I had ever lived at since the 1970s. And so I had to go back on old tax filing, old bank statements. Thank God I collected them. So I sent them a list, and their form wasn't big enough to include every address because I was in the armed forces. And of course, you live all over the place when you're in the armed forces. Yeah. And so it wasn't big enough. So anyways, I sent this in, and I don't really think they cross-referenced it because it looks like I missed a few. And so then finally they said, okay, we'll give you your pension now. And so now they said, well, we won't pay you your amount until the end of July. And that was 3 months ago when I was due to it. And so that's why I haven't sent you any money yet. So I'm saying to all the people out there, please help support Sir Richard's channel, because he really is doing a wonderful job at giving us wide exposure. I hope Lori and Kyle Kemper is supporting you. I hope he's supporting you because he's getting his word out on there. I think all the people that you interview should be supporting you too.
Well, I can only say that a lot of people want to come on to this channel because they do want access to you guys. They want access to the audience. And I do facilitate that for a lot of people with a lot of points of view, a lot of opinions, a lot of time, and a lot of the time it doesn't mesh with my own. But I believe in free speech, and that's part of what we're about here. So
I know, but if they're really supporting, if they really want to see you surviving, they're getting a lot of feedback from your callers. So they should bloody well be paying you as well, in my opinion, because they're getting a lot of feedback.
If we can just pay the bills, I'll be happy. And
well, Lori, if you're listening, and Kyle, and next time you interview Kyle Kemper, is it Kemper or Kempler?
Kemper.
That's what I thought. That's what I have in my family tree, Kemper. And so next time you interview him, I think it would be wonderful to have a call-in line as so that people can call in and ask him questions.
Yeah. We can do that.
I think that would be very good. Just have him on and cover him let him talk for about 5 minutes and make the rest all call-ins, because I'm sure there's a lot of your viewers that would like to ask him a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if he agrees to it, I'd be happy to have him on and do that. I think he's a very interesting guy. And, Leo called the other night, said he didn't really care for Kyle because he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But I'll tell you, I think that Kyle Kemper is a great guy. And I don't envy him at all, because he's the half brother of Justin. He's kind of, I don't even want to mention Justin Trudeau when I talk to him, because I'm certain that he must be so sick to death of being asked about his half brother Justin, and living in the shadow of Pierre Trudeau and his half brother Justin, who's now the prime minister. I mean, can you imagine? Every time somebody talks to you, they have to ask you about your half brother. That would drive me nuts. So I was reluctant to even put Justin's name in the thumbnail or like in the description, or even bring Justin up in this interview, because we talked about Justin the first time, and I was hoping we wouldn't even have to talk about Justin in this last interview. But there it was. It's got to be tough for him. I guess he becomes accustomed to it, but I just, it's just got to be irritating after a while. Like, what about me? Don't you want to talk to me? It would be my reaction. Like, just talk to me. I don't want to talk about my half brother all the time. If you want to talk about, go talk to him. He's got a tough role to fill.
He sure does, and I agree, because you just even look at the backdrop of his office, and it's not fake, it's not CGI. I mean, he's got like IKEA style white shelves, bookshelves in the background, and he's traveled the world. Well, yes, his father, I think my mother, I'm older, so my mother went to school with his Margaret Sinclair's mother, and they went to school together. And so I know a little bit about the family. And we all, like, her parents lived in West Vancouver, and that's where my parents, they were in Horseshoe Bay, my great-grandparents, and which became part of West Vancouver. So we kind of all knew each other, and it's funny because Margaret's father was a liberal, yet his mother was a conservative. And I had that same situation going on in my family. Yeah. My father was, liberal, and my mother conservative. So it's interesting, and it's a dynamic that people need to understand, and you can have your different opinions, but still have children together.
Yeah. So Pam, can I just get you to kind of wrap it up for me and give me a final thought?
Well, I would like to speak. I would love to speak with Kyle.
Okay. Well,
so try and get them back on.
I'd love to have him back, and we can certainly invite him. And at some point down the road, I'm confident that he'll come and pay us a return visit. He's been very gracious with his time, generous.
Well, I think you're bang on when you say he's always in the shadow of his brother. He is his own individual person.
Oh yeah,
and he has the right. And I you're right, bang on now, Sir Richard. He is his own individual person. I shouldn't think he should be compared and always. I mean, he must live a hell of a life.
Yeah, and he's got a lot to talk about on his own, from within his own circle of knowledge and experience, and his own things that he does. He's right into in cryptocurrencies. He's very knowledgeable about that. I'd like to do just a whole show with him just to pick his brain about Bitcoin and other
I think,
cryptos. So
yes, I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I did buy into a Bitcoin scam a few years ago through my doctor who wanted me to get into it. So I bought into it, and then 2 months later, it was said it was shown as a fraud.
Yep.
So $4,000 poof went nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'd be very careful about Bitcoin.
I hear what you're saying.
And I think, and I hear what Leo was saying last night about covering JFK. But I think Trumpy Bear's got a pretty good strong following, and even though he brought in warp speed may not have meant totally the vaccine situation. You've got to dive deeper into that meaning, my dear. And if you haven't, you can look up Derek Johnson, and he's a Marine talking about, and I saw these things that were live streaming on my smart TV at the time. I get things on my smart TV that nobody else seems to get. And then I go on to Rumble and I go, oh, other people have gotten these things too.
Yeah.
But
so Pam, again, yeah, just
with,
let's I do want to wrap it up here. Because I want to bring the show to a close.
I'll wrap up. I'll just say good night and hello, all Maverick family. Keep on hanging in there. And hello, Fred the Fish. And I want to look into getting Interact, Sir Richard, because you can then send funds without having to pay PayPal. You can send them directly to you, and you don't have to pay any fees to anyone. And you just go through a credit union, if you don't belong to a credit union, and say, I want to have Interact. And then people can send you emails directly, email transfers.
Well, you can send e-transfers right now.
Well, what address?
Well, I can put that up on the screen here. You can send it to Maverick Multimedia at mail.com. That is
Maverick.
Let me just get rid of this one here.
And you don't have to give a password?
You do. So you should assign the password Maverick, Maverick. But please, if you do use it, make sure you send it to Maverick Multimedia at mail, not Gmail, mail.com.
Okay, not Maverick Multimedia, not .com. Send it to mail?
Yeah, Maverick Multimedia. It's on the screen there right now at mail.com.
Okay.
And then you can use the security password Maverick, but please do not send it to Gmail. Just to mail.
Okay.
Mail only, not Gmail, mail. Maverick Multimedia at mail.com.
All right, my dear. Because people, that's how you can donate. Don't go through PayPal. They take about, 20 or 30%. Don't go through these third-party users.
No. PayPal isn't anywhere near that high. It's a few percent. You Google, YouTube, that's 30. When we were monetized for a very short time, when people were sending in super chats, that's 30% that Google takes. And you can donate over on the Rumble Rants as well. I don't remember what percentage they take, but you can do the same thing over there with Rumble Rants as you do with super chats.
I can't even get you on my computer. I can see your video on my computer on YouTube, but there's no sound. So I cut and copy that link and send it to Rumble, and then there's sound. And I go into Firefox or some other, I have several browsers, or Brave or whatever, and I take it in there, and then I can hear your sound and watch your show that way. But yes, on my smart TV, I get you, and it was signed up with the YouTube originally. So it's coming through. When people say they're having problems, Yes, I'm having problems on YouTube on my computer, but on my smart TV, it's coming through on YouTube.
I don't know.
But I can't get you on my computer. It's weird. Very strange.
Yeah. I can't. I don't know
Anyways,
what to tell
dear.
you, but there you go. Well, thank you, Pam.
Anyways, dear Richard, I love you. And hello, all American cousins. Believe me, a lot of us are related. You have no idea. Go on to Ancestry. Anyways, on that note, Tulio, tally ho.
Thank you. Have a
Take
great
care.
night. Okay, see you.
Bye-bye.
And that was Dom Palm. All right, folks, it's time for me to wrap up for the night. Let me just bring this to a close over here. And we have, so that's good. You can support the channel at freedomreporters.com. That takes you straight to the donation page. And if you do want to send an e-transfer, you can do that if you're so inclined to support us that way. Again, the email address is maverickmultimedia@mail.com. And if you do send it, just assign the security password Maverick, and then we can complete the transaction for proper accounting and to keep everything organized and above board with the government for taxation and so on. It does go straight into a business account, and that is why we need the security password. And you can use the security password Maverick. Email or e-transfer to maverickmultimedia@mail.com. Or you can also donate through the donation page at freedomreporters.com, which you see scrolling on the bottom of the screen, which is, for some people, the easiest way. But whatever you're comfortable with is cool with us. We're just appreciative of the support that we've been getting, of the support that we are going to be getting, because I'm sure that you guys are going to be around for a while, because I will be around for a while. In fact, I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everybody, for spending the evening here with me and the Maverick family. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.